Hello, and welcome to video 5 out of 5, where I'll be talking about my final thoughts over the topics of sales and cold calling that I picked up on in my 3 books. Now, a couple of things that I want to get across as far as technique differences go between the books was numbers game versus quality game. In Smart Calling by Art Sobczak, he was under the impression, with which I also agree, that your bearing on one call has no influence on how you do on the other call, other than, of course, how you mentally take of it. So, while in Stephen Schiffman's book, Cold Calling Techniques That Really Work, he would emphasize that the more no's you get, the closer you are to getting yes, which I would not really go as far as to say that. I would say that each call should be treated as its own individual call, and you shouldn't act like every no gets you closer to a yes. That's not true at all. Secondly, also in Stephen Schiffman's book, he was fond of just always pressing home to try to always be closing. He didn't really try to tailor the script at all, unlike in Smart Calling, which Mr. Sobczak greatly emphasized, tailoring the script for every individual prospect. So there's a couple of other technique differences. And lastly, some salespeople refer to the secretary as a gatekeeper for a reason. They refer to them as a gatekeeper because they see it as someone who they just need to try to sneak by as fast as possible to talk to the decision maker. While in Smart Calling, he would not agree with that. He would say that the secretary is their own person. They deserve the respect that all people do, and you can also get a decent amount of good information out of them. So there was a few technique differences that I just want to lay out before you. So as you're going into a conversation with a prospect, it is very important to have the correct attitude. You know, the reason a lot of people don't like or respect salespeople is there's some of them out there that give the rest of us a bad name. Some of them out there, they're always trying to push some kind of scammy product onto the prospect. Don't do that. Just have integrity and honesty from the very beginning. And you need to be on a mission to help them. And this relates back to what I previously said about the wonderful paradox. And the wonderful paradox, for a quick reminder, is the more you try to help your customer, the more you'll find that you yourself are being helped. Don't focus on helping yourself. Focus on helping the customer. And over the course of these videos, I laid out a few different ways that you could go about doing this. I gave you some examples or some tips that you could do before you place a call. But the important thing is you need to do it your own way. Everybody's different. We all have our differences in opinions and styles. Just you don't need to take anyone else's styles to heart. And finally, which is also very important, whenever you get rejected, which is going to happen a decent amount in Smart Calling, you can't take it personal. They're rejecting your product. They're not rejecting you as a person. So don't take it personal. So as you're setting your primary and your secondary objectives for your sales calls, don't be afraid to aim high. You know, you're not always going to be able to hit your primary goals, but for your secondary goals, don't make it something kind of stupid like I got, 15 seconds into the call or something kind of dumb like that. Anyone can do that. Aim high. You could set for your secondary objective, I got the prospect to talk to their manager about my product, and they're going to bring it up at a meeting. That's a pretty respectable goal. And don't be afraid to go for the big fish, basically, is what I'm saying. And a good salesperson is always optimistic, and they're always demanding of success. Success doesn't just come and find its way at your doorway. It's something that needs to be earned and fought for a lot of times. You need to be able to demand it from yourself. And Art Sobczak also gave this example in his book. Don't be afraid to be a kid either. Kids, they go everywhere, excited to learn. Just they're always running everywhere. Every day is a new day. So in that way, you kind of want to be like a kid. Treat every day like a new opportunity, because it is. And finally, implementation. The strongest thing in the world is a sense of routine, but it takes time to build that routine. So after you've learned some of the topics that I've covered in these few videos, Stephen Schiffman recommends that you have these implemented into your lifestyle within 72 hours. After that, you start to forget some of the source material. You start to some of it starts to fade from your memory. So you need to be quick on your feet for this one. And it takes about 21 days for a habit to be formed. 21 days of constant, rigid, you're doing it every day. And after that, it'll come a lot more natural after that. And the last thing I want to leave you guys with is don't be afraid to take care of yourself. You might get a lot of flack out there. Some people just might, they might be pretty angry with you for calling them for a sales call. Like I said, don't take it personal, and always remember to take care of yourself. And I want to thank you guys for tuning into my 5 videos and reading my blog, and I'll see you guys later.